Welcome in everyone to the Challenge Aftershow tonight. Jenna and I are talking about the Challenge USA episode 5, In Tyson We Trust.
They're getting better, right? The episode names are getting a little bit better, I
I
think.
mean, anything's better than Independence of Declarations or whatever the hell that first one was. United States of the Challenge. That was like one, I swear, United States of the Challenge or something. It was really bad.
I do think it's called the Declaration of Independence.
Now, even though I've been in Korea the last 2 weeks, I've been keeping up with you ladies. And yes, you even said to yourself that you can't handle some of these episode
Can't
titles.
do it. And I only look at them now because of you.
Well,
I feel honored.
Well, yeah, I do because I made you become the main host for 2 weeks. So you, but did you look at the enticing? Did you know that it was enticing? We trust. Okay, see,
I did. And it's just a giveaway. It's always just a dead giveaway, but I guess it wasn't a total giveaway because a lot of times they put the person who got eliminated in the episode name.
You know what else almost blew it for me was I watched the Challenge podcast and they send me the alerts on my phone and it said they were having Cachet on this week. And I said, crap, does that mean Cachet? Not that I care if Cachet goes home or not, but like I was like, oh crap, did I just lose the whole point of watching this episode? I already know she goes home now. And then when she got paired up with Tyson, I said, wait a minute, Tyson's going home this week? Because that's what I thought. And then obviously all of it changed around. But if you're watching us here, the spoiler alert, I mean, what are you doing? Go watch the damn show already. So we're not spoiling anything.
We have to do one of those every after show.
I know.
Spoiler alert. You should have watched the show by now. But you were saying you were nervous that things were going to blow it. And my response in my head, I didn't want to cut you off, was it just the whole episode? Was it just all the story arcs and the confessionals? Because the entire episode, they're basically leading you up to the big reveal and the big moment. And I don't know if I'm just getting more onto the foreshadowing and I'm more like hypersensitive to it. But I'm just, every time someone gets brought up, I'm like, oh, we're seeing a lot of this person. We're seeing a lot of people talk about this person. What's that going to mean? We obviously know what's going to happen. But it did twist, though. It did psych me out because
I'm glad there was the twist.
It didn't work for Tyson. And
they hyped up Derek, and is it Kayla, his partner this week? Who was his partner?
They did show a lot of Derek.
They hyped them up.
That was the red herring. You're right.
They showed him in the at the beginning in the little vignettes, and then they showed him a lot. Like, oh, they're leading the way. I'm like, oh wow, okay, so they're just gonna take this. They're somehow gonna send Tyson in, or maybe they also hyped it like Tyson and Cachet were gonna get last place in the challenge of the day. So I was like, maybe that's how they go home. Like that's what my whole thing was the whole time watching.
You're totally right. I took note of that too, and I kept thinking this is not going to be good for Derek or Kayla. But I also think it was well done by bringing them into it, not only to make them a red herring or a decoy, but also because, as we'll talk about it as the episode unfolds, Kayla starts to talk game with Tyson. And I think she actually has more sway than Tyson would maybe like to admit. I think she was kind of that first domino that fell to make him make the decision that he ultimately made. Like, I was actually kind of surprised that for Tyson, who's someone so big and bad in this game, I do think he can be impressionable. I mean, we saw it with James. James definitely directed him in a certain way when James was up for elimination, episode 1 or 2. Now Kayla has something to say to him. And I think that he actually, he can be swayed and he does listen. And that's a sign of somebody who's good at the game, who can kind of listen to other people and take note. But he also, he can be, I don't want to say manipulated, but swayed.
I mean, Ben and Sarah were talking about it. One of them was mentioning how he's been on Survivor 4 times, but he's only actually won it once. And some of his downfalls were going at people too early in the game that were, his whatever it is.
Numbers, his allies. I mean, this is the same thing. It's funny because it's the same thing that happened last week.
I'm so happy that you got to bring it up first so that I could jump in and give my take on it. Everybody up in arms on social media, up in arms in the world over Alyssa's decision last week. I loved it. I love when people don't play scared and go after people that they think in the end might, even though I know it's her alliance. He already went against her once in Big Brother, so whatever. Go against this guy. And even if he is an alliance, him and Shan are still heavy hitters as far as I'm concerned in that game. I thought, like, if you have a chance to take them out and you don't think they're going to want to work with you the whole time, the only thing I didn't like that she did, and we talked about this off off the air was that she said that Shan was the real reason that she put them in. Oh, I don't trust Shan. Okay, sure you don't. You don't trust X. He screwed you over in Big Brother, apparently. I didn't watch it, but apparently he did. So I loved Alyssa's move, and everyone was worried, oh, it's going to backfire on her next week. This damn algorithm is going to prevent that from happening because you don't know who the hell you're going to be paired up with. You could be paired up with a Love Islander or a freaking Amazing Racer. Who the hell knows? And she wasn't touched this week, Jenna. And now Survivor's going against Survivor. That's going to be the big headline now. Alyssa snuck right under the rug. She's going to hang out there the rest of the damn season. Great move by her. I was pumped about it.
Well, I'm curious if her decision also motivated Tyson, because now it's very clear that the shows are not working with each other anymore. I think that it's very
especially now
that there's no more show alliances. Now it's just, this is the challenge game, and people who were best friends with each other on their previous show are going to stick together. But it sounds like Tyson was always kind of rogue. He was always a little bit of a loose cannon in Survivor, and Ben and Sarah were way closer. And Tyson was kicked out of Survivor at their doing or at their help. So it seems like all of these we're going to hold hands and sit around the campfire and be the show alliance and we all love each other, it's no longer happening anymore. But I wonder if Alyssa sparked that in Tyson. You know, she was the first one to go after somebody internally.
Yeah.
Her internal group. And I wonder if that made Tyson feel like, you know what, I'm gonna do it too. But it's just interesting because he was the one talking shit last week saying Big Brother's playing our game for us. They're eating each other. They're, breaking each other from the inside. And that's what he's doing now. And I'm just thinking this is also copy and paste, because he's trying to divert the attention away from Shannon and blaming Leo for being a bad partner. The girls don't want to be partnered with him, so we're going to throw Leo in. Same thing that Alyssa did last week, pivoting the attention from wanting to throw in X, her best friend, old ally, now nemesis.
Well, I think that,
for lack of a better word, then he's just, he's kind of doing the same thing. So I found it interesting. I was like, you had a lot to say about this last week, but here we are.
Well, I think that Tyson originally wanted to put in Ben and whoever the hell his partner was, but wasn't it someone from Love Island? And then his partner, Cachet, was like, no, I can't put them in. So he said, well, if I can't put Ben in, who's plotting against me with Sarah, I'll do the next best thing and just put Sarah in because they're both going to plot against me. So I think that was also Tyson's motivation there.
Totally. However, is it, again, similar to the Alyssa Kylan move? Is it too early for that? Is it too early to self-implode if that's where you think your numbers are? If your numbers are with your show, then why are you going to kick them out before someone else?
I don't think that
your whole list of people you could choose from.
I don't think that Tyson really feels that Ben and Sarah are his number one. I think they're each other's number one. And Tyson's like, I'm sitting on the outside here. Yeah, there's other survivors. I think there's Desi, right? Isn't she a survivor?
You know what? I can't even remember where she's from, but she's got to be a survivor because Amazing Race is basically out and Love Island is so...
Is she really tied with Tyson, though? Is Desi really tied with Tyson? Who does Tyson really have? He has Angela, but isn't she Big Brother? So, like, at this point, I don't mind the move that he made. And I like that Sarah's coming back in the house because I want to see them go at it. And I want to see him ultimately take her down as well. But love it or hate it, the algorithm is forcing all these different people, all these 4 different shows, to actually have to work together. And they're starting to like people that aren't their own show. And let's be honest, they're basing their like of these other people based on, oh, we were on a show together. And sometimes it's like we were on the same show together, but not even the same season. So how tight are those ties ultimately?
Well, it's an easy allyship when you're heading into a game. It, I guess, does what the opposite of what's happening on Big Brother. If you're watching it this season, how we see people enter this house and they're like bloodthirsty to make an alliance and to make a connection and to play this game. They're overthinking, they're overworking, they're overplaying. But walking into this challenge house, it's a very easy, natural way to say, okay, I at least have 5 people that I can be with because we all came from the same world. And I think that they all had judgments of each other going into the house. People wrote off Love Island because they think it's like a drunken, trashy dating show. And people think Big Brother is sketchy. And I think people think Survivor also has a lot of politics and people can't be trusted. So I think everybody was sketched out by their opposers. So that's why they all kind of work together. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I think that's just dead and over with. And maybe that's why my reaction to Tyson throwing in Sarah and Leo is not like as emotional as when I saw Alyssa throw an X, probably because I know X from Big Brother. So that's a, like, you know, after watching him for a season, you build up that bias of liking him. But it also just feels like I don't know. They didn't seem as tight. Tyson doesn't seem, yeah, it just didn't, something about it. It feels like the line has kind of been drawn and people are no longer working with their shows.
And I'm super excited to talk about that elimination in the arena tonight because I was super impressed by a person that I was not impressed by this entire season. Even wrote some not so nice things in my notes. And then I was like, well, wait, but then what's he doing there? And we'll get into him in a little bit. There's a teaser for you. You brought up Big Brother. If anyone out there is interested in checking out our after show of Big Brother season 24, it's up on our Patreon, which is pretty easy to find at patreon.com/The Challenge After Show. So we would love to see you guys over there. For a whole $1 a month, you can watch. We are going crazy with that. We love talking about Big Brother 24 for sure, especially Pam. Pamela is next level on it right now.
I can't wait to go watch last night's episode. I still haven't watched it.
I watched it this morning and it's phenomenal, and I won't give anything away. And
all right, let's stick with the challenge though.
Well, real quickly though, I've been watching them in chunks. I haven't been watching them individually. And I need to go back to watching them in chunks because I was like, I have to wait a whole day to see what happens here. I'm a little upset by myself. I like to binge it. If there's too many episodes to not binge them, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right, moving on with here we get to the day challenge, which is barreled treasure. Is that what yeah, barreled treasure. You have to look into barrels with a code on them. And it's kind of a dud challenge for me. I wasn't really, the only thing that kept it interesting was Tyson and Cachet's situation. Everything else I thought was like, okay, you have to swim, which I know people suck at swimming. And then, okay, then you have to find a barrel thing in a barrel puzzle, of course, and then swim back. I would have rocked the socks of this challenge personally, just saying.
Okay. I was actually into this game because I felt like it was so back and forth and you kind of never, you ruled certain people out, but only in certain
fair.
Hits. So in the top three to five people remained kind of the same. Derek and Kayla were crushing it, and quickly behind them were Justine and, oh my gosh, who was her partner? Ben. And this was my dream team. I was so happy they were together because I love both of them. And they kicked ass. Danny and Angela were quickly behind them. So there was a lot of back and forth between the people who were in the front and the people in the back where you didn't know who was going to lose because you saw Azah and Cinco having such a hard time, but also Enzo was having very hard time.
I couldn't believe it when I saw Enzo struggling. I'm like, oh, I got to bring this up with Jenna because she's in love with this guy. I got to say, what happened? Because I wrote down Enzo showing weakness. I thought you said this guy was the bee's knees.
But he shows weakness in the best, most Enzo way ever, though. His partner is telling him
from almost drowning. Like, what was
no? Because he's told jump in. He goes, I don't want to fucking jump in, and he takes his little rope down, and I just love him. If he's
so, do you love Leo? You must love Leo then too. Because he did the exact same move as Enzo.
No, it's not that I love Leo. I mean, Enzo's my guy. He's Bayonne. He's New Jersey. Okay. But also cats can't swim. And you weren't on the show with us when we realized that Enzo was also using cat nicknames when he was on Big Brother. So he used to call himself like the Meow Meow. He would always say, I'm Meow Meow, I'm Meow Meow. So him and Leo, they proved the theory that cats can't swim. So it's funny that they both identify with cats.
What was a little off-putting to me was I didn't think that jump even looked that far off the water. Like,
I think people are tired. But
wouldn't it be easier? But yes, but wouldn't it be easier instead of climbing down and having to hold your body weight than to just let gravity do its thing and just jump off the damn thing and be done with it?
Maybe. I don't know. It could startle you.
Of course it would. It could
startle like your cardiovascular, you're splashing into this murky water after you're swimming back and forth. I don't know. Some people might just want to take their time. They're using that as almost like a rest to get down the rope. I don't know. I'm just a thought.
I was just thrown off by that. And then Sarah showing off annoyed me. I don't like her doing flips. Even though if Jordan did the same flip, I'd love it. So like who am I as a person for saying
that? Biases, man. There's
100%.
something about it. And it's fair. We all have it. We all get ticked off by something one person does just because it's the person who did it, not what they did. but of course I eye rolled to her flip too. I
Oh,
mean,
good. Okay. It wasn't just me then. All right.
like, especially again, we're bringing up Big Brother. Something about a lot of people who are cops on reality TV shows, they like for everyone to know it. So that is just my memory of her, is her just like always bringing up that she's a cop, just like Nicole on Big Brother is always bringing up that she's a cop. So when she does a flip, I just can't help but roll my eyes.
Yep. Both of those two just annoy me to no end.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is when we get to this elimination, I'm rooting for her, and that was really weird for me because I was much more happy and satisfied with the plan that they had. I thought it was well organized. I was pumped that I like an underdog like Leo finally said he came up with this supposedly, and Sarah didn't deny it. Like it was Leo's plan to do it the way they did. So I can't believe I hated both teams going in too. I don't know how you felt, but
Yeah.
like I was like, I don't want either of these teams in the game.
Oh,
So
that's funny. So I had the exact opposite. I kind of didn't want either of them to lose because of the storyline associated to it. But well, okay, I
okay.
can just say it now. So
Yeah,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
want,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't want Cinco or Azza to lose because I actually just like them as people. I feel like they're really chill and relaxed. And I don't know, I like them. And Azza has really grown on me because I kind of felt like she didn't do much on Big Brother. And I was
Okay.
kind of feeling that way on the challenge. I'm like, she's just kind of, she's more of like a fly on the wall or something. Like she doesn't really seem to get really into it and play the game that much. But I think that she's trying really hard to face her fears, and she's not a good swimmer, and the heights thing was really hard for her, but she's really trying to work
Mm-hmm.
through that. So I've grown to have a true liking for her and just respecting her. So I didn't want them to leave for that reason out of like, and I didn't want Leo and Sarah to leave out of storyline because it
That's
would
the
be
one.
very.
That's why I think too I was rooting for them more. Honestly, Azza has not, I mean, from what I've seen her on this show, she hasn't done anything for me. I thought she can't do the heights, she can't do the swimming. What can she do? And then like you said, she'll also fly on the wall. She's not giving me any drama, anything on that end of it. So like to me, get her out of there. Melvin, bye Mel. Don't care that he's there. By the way, that's Cinco. I think his real name is Melvin. Get Mel out of there because you know what? I'm so sick of him being there because I can't stand Cachet more and more every week because this woman is obsessed with this guy and she can't let it go. And she keeps saying, oh, but our story, our trips, our life together was, it was storyline was so magical back in the day. It was amazing. Was it that magical? Who watched this? Did you watch it? Tell me that it was
I
magical.
didn't watch it.
Where did this happen? Where was it on Love
It
Island?
had to happen on Love Island, right?
It was, I can't imagine it being that great of this showmance that I must see
Listen,
now.
I actually think you're giving her bad rep because it's probably the edit. Because again,
I've got more though too. I've got more
this
that's
is
not the
what
edit.
producers want in the same way you want it. People want love interests, regardless if people are together
Yeah, when
or falling in love or broken up. And so they're playing into that. And I doubt that she's as obsessive as the storyline is making it seem. Because I actually think she handles everything very maturely. Like, yes, they are broken up, and she recognizes that. She goes to talk to him and she acknowledges that you're a single man, you're a free man, you can do what you want, but it's also really difficult for me to be in this house to watch you flirt and to
let
watch
me
you.
ask you this: and I don't know this, and
Her, that's fine.
well, maybe people in the comment section can tell me how serious their relationship was, because it seems to me that it wasn't that serious and that she thought it was a lot more serious than he did. This is just how I'm looking at how the producers are making me feel, and that she just won't let it go. And she's like, it's just so hard for me. And then he doesn't say anything because I don't think he wants to be done with this girl. So I think what he wants to say is like, it's over. We weren't that serious. So I'm going to talk to other girls now. Life moves on. You do the same.
That's subjective though.
Fair
Like
enough.
maybe
And I'm not denying that.
maybe she really like had it for him, and
Well,
is
she
really
still does. She
attracted
says that
to
she's
him, was
over him, by
really
the way.
into him. So
It,
it can be tough. It can be tough to live in an environment like that.
but
I don't think
if
I think
I'm
when people break up, they totally have to be separated from each other. And
but
I
if
think
I'm
that they're doing a great job of not being like Ronnie and Sammy, that's for sure.
God, that was entertaining for the first 3 seasons. Then it got a little annoying. Then they finally had a season where they didn't fight, but that's a whole Jersey Shore thing. There's another reason I don't like her though. So like I have more than just that. If it's producer, pushed, then I have something else. I don't like when weak players have power and they think that now they're these strong players because they have the power that they didn't even earn. She was literally, and we'll go back to the challenge of the day, she was literally dragged on her back. I'm not even exaggerating. This is what happened. She was dragged through on her back through the water by Tyson. And I'm just going to give Tyson more and more props. This dude came, and also she opened the wrong barrel. She couldn't have messed up this challenge anymore. She couldn't have shown her weakness anymore. And then because of Tyson, now she gets to have this all powerful power of like, and she's in that room and she's like, yo, just give me a name. Just give me a name. Well, back up. First of all, you shouldn't even be here right now. Why don't you just let Tyson do the talking? I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it from you. I know I'm a dick for saying it, but it's just how I felt.
No,
and
you can feel how you feel. Yeah.
I
mean,
mentioned Tyson earlier in the season. I said, whoever's with Tyson is going to look like this strong competitor. You had Justine, who is still proving that she's pretty good. You had whoever else that he's with. Everyone is performing well when they're with him. And even Cachet couldn't perform well. That's how weak this woman is. She couldn't even show that she was anything in the show. So anyway,
she had a poor showing today.
Today was very poor showing. Yeah,
absolutely was not her day. It was a very, very poor showing. I do think there's so many people in this game, although they're starting, the numbers are starting to minimize, of course, with people leaving, that just like today's challenge, it's been hard to really get a focus on certain people. So today she did get the focus. She did get the spotlight on her weaknesses. And this was a bad showing. But, I haven't really seen any like glaring instances of her performing outstandingly awful on the rest of the challenges or incredibly, just like a lot of people. Tyson's a shining star, Angela's a shining star, Ben is doing great, Justine is doing great, Desi is strong.
Derek,
like there's certain people that stick out to me, but everyone else is just kind of walking on that like middle ground. And I feel like outside of today, Cachet has been a middle ground. I don't think she's been awful, but I don't think she's shined either. But today was just a very bad showing. And
I just think her other weaknesses with Cinco, maybe now that he's gone, she won't be so emotionally
wrapped up,
triggered all the damn time. Like I feel like that's all. Like, and the producers are doing this. They show every damn scene where she gets upset or she's talking with another female in the house about how upset she is about what Cinco's doing. It's like, focus on the game, focus on the money. You had a showmance on a reality show, and I'm gonna look up how long they did it afterwards because maybe it was this 2-year thing. I really don't think it was.
No,
I mean, they're on Love Island.
But maybe she was just really feeling it, like her heart could still be broken.
And that's what also bothers me about her. She says she's over him, but she's clearly not. And he clearly is over her. So it just adds to that whole thing of like, it's such a bad look right now.
Yeah.
Cash.
But
focus on the real cash.
Going back to the challenge of the day, Tyson really just is ridiculous. His endurance is insane. He's carrying a weight similar to Sarah. So 2 Survivor people are literally carrying like a backpack of a human being.
I know.
Like at least well over 100 pounds as they're swimming. I don't think, I feel like I could barely swim without the added weight. But Tyson kicks ass, and the fact that they come from 7th place, they come from so far behind and they finish the puzzle. I was rooting for Justine and Ben because I love them both. And of course, Ben can braid hair, being the sweet angel that he is. Of course he knows how to braid hair because he has daughters, like the sweetest boy ever, sweetest man. And I was rooting for them because Justine is also so awesome. But the way that Tyson and Cachet not only have to double back on the swimming, but they even finished the puzzle before people who have been up there before them. Same with Derek and Kayla. I was rooting for them as well, and they had the biggest lead of all time, but I just don't know how I don't know. Tyson just,
I'm just happy there are certain people in this house that I'm finally starting to like. I mean, it's always a worry when you start the challenge. Am I going to actually care about any of these individuals? Ben and Justine, I mean, they're both growing on me. I've always liked Derek. I obviously like Alyssa, so I'm really rooting for those 2. Just because, when someone gets screwed over somewhere, I want to see. I like a good. Who doesn't like a redemption story? Who doesn't like a good redemption? They need to do a new redemption house someday. That redemption house, I like that redemption house in those couple seasons that they did that.
Imagine they just have Cara and Pauly sitting in the redemption house right now, trying to get on the challenge CBS.
That would be, amazing. And they mentioned again tonight. TJ mentioned again the 2 winners from this season will go on to compete against, I guess, OG challengers from the original MTV show. It's at some point in time. So maybe from season 38, the winners of season 38, or hopefully past ones too. Like
I
maybe they bring in
wonder
Wes from
who
All Stars 3, the winner from that.
they
What?
should bring Wes. They
Wouldn't
should
that be
bring
cool? I
Wes.
mean, or CT, someone big.
And honestly, they should probably bring Bananas because Bananas is great at this game. Because I'll be disappointed if they bring in like some of these newer people that are
Bananas
just
is on
not.
38, correct? We decided he is on with Nani, correct?
We're not sure. There's been
Yeah.
rumors he could potentially be like a mercenary. No
Yeah.
one really knows for
Because
sure.
if
Yeah.
not, if he doesn't ever appear on 38, which I think that he will, I think that this worldwide one is a great one for him to come back to and make his
I think that,
reappearance at.
yeah, I think that would be enticing for him too, because I think he knows that he's kind of like the billboard face of the challenge, and it would be weird for him not to be involved in like an international broadcast network, CBS, doing this. Like he knows he's got to get on this.
Let me give you
Yeah.
Cachet. Can I give you Cachet and Cinco's dating history real quick?
Yes, please do.
The two, who were largely dating long distance during their romance, called it quits about 5 months after they left the Love Island USA house. It doesn't say
No,
this.
you're totally right. I'm sure this was not
This is nothing. It's long
it's not
distance
a long
too,
relationship. All I'm saying is she probably, people like romanticize things, or they get their feelings when like liking someone is a strong feeling, when you even crushing on someone is a strong feeling.
I get that.
So she's still,
But it's also the
there.
idea of, if I'm crushing on someone and we go out a few times and they don't like me, I'm pretty much over that a couple days later because it didn't really affect my life that long. You just move on to someone else. She's still harping on this. And this was January 2022, where it says, yeah, so
it was a recent
it's
breakup
recent,
then.
so I'll give her that. At least
recent,
at least it's not like from 2020 or something. At least it's somewhat recent they broke up.
And if they were doing a long distance relationship and then they see each other again, then it probably just reinvigorated those feelings.
No, but if they broke up in like even February or March of last year, and now they started filming this, they've actually, a couple months later, probably, yeah. So whatever.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm trying to get all my points across, but they're not all going to stick.
I know, you're just, yeah.
All right. So anything else before we get into
Let's see what my notes are. I said Tyson is a literal fish. Oh, Angela and Danny and Kiki are in third place.
Yeah, are you over the Kiki? You still like the Kiki talk, huh? I'm like, okay,
I like it because I feel like it's an understanding between the producers and the viewers. It's like, all right, let me give you your Danny's wife.
Let me ask you this. Will there be an episode where he doesn't mention Kiki? Because every episode that they show him, he says a Kiki line. He gets Kiki involved every time.
There has to be one an episode.
Okay, so you're going to give, so under over next week, you're saying that there will be, not over one. We'll say under over zero. You'll say over zero.
I think there's going to be one Kiki reference every single episode except for one. I think they're going to give it a break just to like catch us off of our game and then bring Kiki back in. I think
it's officially, I mean, he doesn't have they're trying to create characters. They're trying to create Ben wears a cowboy hat and he braids hair. That's his thing. We got him down, what is this? This is Danny's thing. Like, yes, he was a football player. He has so many things that he did in life that's actually really cool. But we got to focus on the fact that he's obsessed with Kiki. Like, that's his thing.
I like it though. I think
it's not the worst. It's not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing that I've seen on like, I mean, what was that? They made him a cleaning guy because he was furniture, basically. Remember they made him Joss, yeah.
Housekeeper.
They made him like that. They would show him cleaning the kitchen in the mornings. That was like that was what he did on the show.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then didn't they do a whole behind the scenes with him where they showed baby pictures of him or something, right? At one point to give him something.
We always talk about the bio doc.
The bio doc of Joss.
The biopic.
The biopic.
LO freaking L. Okay, what do you think about?
Yeah, please ask me a question.
I don't know how I feel. Okay, I'll just say knee jerk. I like this, and I don't know why I like this. But Cinco and Azah decide just to be quiet and kind of play chicken with Tyson and Cachet. For some reason, I'm into it. I don't know why. I just kind of like the stoicism or maybe the unbotheredness. I like that they're like, and again, Cinco is coming from a perspective of knowing Cash and thinking that she's going to manipulate things or she's going to go tattletale because they're exes. So they just play it safe and they keep their mouth shut. And I'm kind of like, I'm just cool with it. I like it.
Even though I didn't want them to come back, like I don't care about them. I love that move because I was so didn't like the way that Cachet was talking to them. Like she was like, "I kicked ass today. You guys suck. Who do you? What can I? Well, let me throw you a bone here. Who do you might want to go against? No, screw you, Cachet. You got carried to the damn finish line. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut." So I love that move by them for sure, 100%.
I mean, I don't think she came off like arrogant. I think that she was
tell
just
us in the comment section what you thought of Cachet after she is literally the weakest player I've seen on the challenge in a while. Can't do anything and got dragged to the finish line, and then is like in there like. Yeah, just who do you want? Who can I help you out? Let me help you out today because I kicked so much ass today. That was my vibe. Yeah.
Okay.
No matter, I wrote this down. No matter how weak you are, you can still win with Tyson. That's what I wrote down.
Tyson is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. This guy, I have to admit it. And he's not like this like statuesque man. Like he's not like full with like even like a lean muscular guy. He's like pretty like I don't want to say scrawny, but he's on the older side too. How old is he? I wonder.
I just think we are such emotionally driven human beings. Like humans are so emotional, and adrenaline and emotion can make you do anything. Like his competitiveness and his anger, that's an emotion, and because of it, he uses his endurance. But it's really all the mental strength and the competitive edge that he has.
It says he's 43 years old, but when you look him up, it says that he's a cyclist or something. Is that true?
Yeah, well, I believe that because he said that cycling 12 miles is a warm-up.
Okay, so I mean, it's saying like he does something with cycling or something like that. So that's endurance is insane for that. So that's
I also think again it's like cross training, meaning I wonder if triathlons, because that also incorporates swimming as well as cycling. Because I say that because you can run, you can be a jogger, you could do HIIT workouts, CrossFit, whatever. Doesn't mean you can swim, or it doesn't mean you can bike necessarily.
Right.
So all of these different things require different skills and different levels of cardio endurance. So even looking at swimming, it's hard. It's hard to do that as many times as they have to.
Yeah, I again, I can't. I grew up on a lake. I could swim all day. I know I could swim all day. I could swim all day. and if you think about it,
of you watching, I was like, oh, lake boy's probably like, let me get in the water.
Here's the thing: if you swim a lot, you're not even having to. It's not your full body weight. That like when you run, you're running on like a lot more weight. In water, you're buoyant because you're being carried. You're being helped by the water. So in theory, you can swim. And just crush. You just float along and just move your body. You will move with the water. It happens naturally.
I get like some rapid heartbeat. I get the cardio feeling when I'm swimming though. That makes me want to take a break.
Well, that's why you can just float there if you know how to.
Right, but that's not going to help you win the challenge.
I understand, but if you needed a break when you run, like if you're running that far, you gotta turn into a walk. You can't even. You can at least just like move along in the water. You're not gonna be like. I don't think in the water you ever get out of breath where you're like Azza did tonight though. So I'm like, wait, so what's going on? She must not be like if you know.
Can't swim. Like
that's my point. If you can't swim, I think you get out of breath. But if you can decently swim, just do it. You're not gonna get out of breath.
Or just hold on to your partner's life jacket.
And that's my point with Tyson. Like this dude carried a person through the water. Like, yes, I know he's has super endurance, but like I'd be dragging her too. I'd have no issue at all.
I mean, yeah. And Tyson won in record speed, so that's why he gets the credit. But let's also not forget, even though Sarah can annoy me, she did also carry Leo. So
yeah, I definitely and I don't want to give her credit, but like, yeah, she carried him to that, and then he did a really nice job in the arena, which we can get to next if you'd like.
I would love to give my overall of the elimination 2 overalls. 1, I thought the game was so interesting and was a very cool, innovative elimination. And it's weird. It's one of those that makes you think when they were sitting around or when they were brainstorming, what made them think of like old film reels?
Well, they were just trying to, I don't know what film has to do with the season as far as like if they're going for some type of vibe, because it makes like the Big Brother 24 is all about,
Festy
being at a festival,
festival.
right? But this didn't really like. What's film have to do with what they're trying to portray this season? I don't know. But the idea that each film is a different size, I think that's where they just needed something that had different sizes, and film tends to do that depending on how much tape is on that reel or how much film is on the
Yeah,
reel.
I thought this one was really cool because it was so challenging and it does take strategy, and we'll get into the strategy. But first, I want to say we've seen a lot of people react to themselves winning after elimination. This one might take the cake for me. This might be better than any of the hunters puffing his chest. This might be better
What
than the
about Laurel?
UFU, you're cool.
What about
This
Laurel?
might be better than when Laurel went like this to Ninja. It's on that same level. The turkey leg, the cutting of the throat was so
And you know
hysterical.
why it was also hysterical? Because she was tied to the other guy still tucked to Leo. She couldn't fully do anything she wanted to do because she's dragging around a 150-pound dude with her. Tyson's confessional, or whenever he said it, was hilarious. He's like, she's gnawing on this like chicken bone. Like the way he said it was amazing. Like it was laugh out loud. I'm like, this
Literally laugh
dude.
out loud. I'm busting out laughing that they can't. Do they think that they're being intimidating? Do they think this is working?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm in the stands, I'm laughing at you.
Yeah.
I'm laughing directly at you, even though you won.
I
You've
was
lost any fear that you could have instilled in me. I am no longer threatened by you eating your imaginary turkey leg. Like, it was just incredible. I
But
have
this is
not
also the
laughed that
person
hard
doing it,
on a
right?
challenge for a while.
But we're
Huh?
also remember this is Sarah doing this, so we roll our eyes because it's Sarah too. Like right away, I'm like, oh god, this is gonna. I'm
Okay, it
laughing
could
at
be
her basically.
anybody. It could be CT doing it, and I would still
I
laugh.
think
Like,
if
it's
CT,
embarrassing.
I think if CT won a big elimination, which every elimination is big because you're going home if you don't win it, I think we might react a little differently to CT doing something like that. Especially if it depends on who he's doing it to. If it is his rival now, if it is someone like who's CT like best buds with that could screw him over, right? If someone did screw him over, because technically Sarah and Tyson have this relationship because of Survivor or whatever, you know. So it is someone. It's not just anyone screwing him over or her over. It's supposed so
Yeah.
an alliance, an ally, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Let's get into the details of the elimination. So what do you think?
Well, I think that whatever Leo named what he came up with, like, what a great idea, because I didn't really know how to go about this. I probably, unless someone had said something to me on the side, I may have just gone in there blind too and then come out and figure it out. The fact that he decided to do that ahead of time, let's figure out the sizes while we can actually see and measure with certain fingers. Then we know when we go in there, we put certain placement of fingers on the reels in there. What a brilliant move. I didn't think of that. Did you think of that ahead of time at all or anything like
It
that?
was definitely a reminder of always going into something with a strategy if you
Right.
can. Like, always think about it before you go play, because I would have done what Aza and Cinco did, because you
Yeah.
look at a challenge like this and you're not really thinking about, or maybe I'm dumb and I should think more about it, but I don't know. You're just thinking you want to head into this dark room to start finding this stack. You want to start finding the pieces so you can go to work. You're thinking about time. You're thinking about
Right.
winning. And you saw that it did take a big amount of time for them to pin down their strategy, for Leo and Sarah to really go one by one and really size them out and feel them and get their strategy
They
together.
made it look like they took a really long, the edit made it look like they were there for
Yeah,
a while. I don't know if
but
they were
it's
there
worth
quite that
it.
long, but yeah.
Something like that is worth it, and it paid off. And I was just thinking that was genius. I thought it was so smart to think something through like that before. And they have their numbering system, so it just becomes second nature to them when they get in their groove. Ozza and Cinco, we don't see how they develop their strategy, but they do have something in the works too. I
Was
mean,
there a strategy though? I'm not sure.
I say that because they I think that they're measuring things out, right? Because they're like two tinies, and a medium and a big. So maybe not. But
I was really impressed with Leo and Sarah. They found the 4 different reels, the size was so fast. They both,
yeah,
it's like they were looking ahead of time. Like they were like, that one looks bigger, that like before they even blew the whistle. So they didn't have to look for them. They found
yeah,
them all in
they
one
did a
area. They
really
just
great
lined them
job.
up. Insane.
And again, it shows that different people are just good at different things. And Leo, and he might be somebody, or to quote Naya, she said that she's like a fourth quarter performer in life.
Mm,
Maybe Leo is like an under pressure performer. I mean, if it was a swimming challenge, I don't really think he could have done anything
yeah.
to save himself, but maybe he shines in moments where he has to. Or he kicks it into high gear. And this was one where he was able to really use his brain. I wonder if Sarah would have come up with a strategy like that. I think, it was really Leo that took the reins on that.
Well, Sarah's a cop, so maybe she unlike Nicole on Big Brother does some detective work and is able to size up all these reels no problem. I wrote down Sarah is crazy and not in a good way. Does she act like that as a cop? I gotta. Did she ever act like that when she arrests someone for the first time? Did she do that? I ate you up. I ate you up. You're done. You're going to jail.
She puts on the handcuffs and then she slides the jail clink doors and she's like,
or she's in the front seat and they're behind her with the all caged up, and she just turns around and says, I got you.
She's looking in the mirror as someone's sitting in the back of her cop car and she's just like,
yeah, I got you. I ate you up.
yeah, I arrested you.
Oh my God.
there needs to be a montage. I wonder if they have that on YouTube, because the challenge does a pretty good job of like best beefs or best fights and hookups of the past. They need to do a montage of all of these just over the top reactions of when people, I know that it's exciting to win. I get
For
it.
sure.
But they lose like all understanding of this could be a fleeting moment and your ass could leave still next week. Like they all of a sudden act like they're kings and queens of the world, for winning one thing.
I mean, Tyson and her will never partner up again this season. Like, this is going to be a rivalry for the rest of the season. And I'm excited to see it because I'm definitely obviously on Tyson's side more than hers. So I have a favorite as far as between those two. Like, I like him more than her. So I'm excited to see how they go after each other in the house now and on the next show and challenges and all that stuff.
Yeah, the episode should start to pick up, because now, the game alliances are getting blurry and maybe it'll get a little bit dirtier. Yeah. I want to see more people shine in the challenges. I feel like it's just the people who are in the spotlight who are outshining everybody else.
It also depends who you get paired up with, though, because and that's what's so crazy is even Tyson got paired up with a dud and he still shines. So my point is, like, who's going to stop this guy if he gets paired up with Angela's every week? Or even this Desi, I felt like we haven't seen much of her. I feel like she's a pretty good athlete.
I feel like she has so much potential. And
and I feel like, in Tyson, and that's another reason he didn't want to put Desi in there. He hasn't been paired up with her yet. There's another option for him. That's another big thing that we're not thinking about. And like, it's like, if you haven't been paired up with like certain strong players, why would you throw them down into elimination, then never get to work with them again, and then get stuck with a cachet again? Like, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Or even get stuck with a Leo. Like, Leo, to me, one last thing on him is like, out of our 5 assets that we always talk about, the dude can't swim and the dude's got no social game. Is he that strong? I don't know. Does he have that much endurance? I don't know. I guess he's kind of smart. He's good at puzzles then. That's all he's got. Like, I can't, I don't think he's going to go far.
Also, something else I'd like to see with the storylines is, and maybe it's just not there, but these people are being filmed all the time. I would imagine there would hopefully be something entertaining. If we're not going to be able to focus in on them in the challenge because there's so much going on, then I want to see people in the house. I want to see how they're interacting with people. We're not seeing anything with Kira. We're not seeing anything with like now Alyssa in the house or even David, like literally anybody.
We saw
like a very tiny bit of Derek and Kayla, but I don't need every confessional to be associated to who's eventually going to be an elimination. I don't need all
that's what the
we can do the math. It can be so much quicker. They can really make that more concise and stop doing all of the filler of like every storyline being about elimination.
You nailed it though, Jenna. You nailed it. They're trying to do the storylines too much, and instead of just letting them be in a house and talk game, we're also spoiled with Big Brother too. Big Brother is like, I mean, most of the show is them just talking in a house, and I love every second of it, even though it's too fake as far as I'm concerned. This show is a little more real, right? I mean, you are trying to fake out your opponent, but when you're working with someone, the backstabbing is less on this show in theory. Big Brother is every 2 damn seconds. But yeah, I
want to see them doing some stupid shit. I want to see them
they don't do that. They don't.
It's also game centric, but also not entertaining enough in the game way.
Well, you can
I
thank
hate how
woke
I did that, but
culture.
I was
Why don't
so
you?
theatrical. Entertaining
I know,
enough.
entertain me, but you can thank woke culture for that. They're too afraid to show anything that's going to get someone canceled or get themselves canceled. It's gonna be a whole cancel culture. It's like it's almost too much at this point.
I
You
mean, you
can't
don't
show
have to
anything.
be like ignorant
Do
to
they
be
even go out and
entertained.
party anymore? Where's the drinking in these? Did they go out? They didn't even party this episode. They won't show
Right.
it.
So then, like, what are they doing to keep themselves busy? Like, what's going on in the house?
They're
We also
afraid to
want,
show it. They're afraid to show it to us.
really, I also want that reality TV element. Like, I don't know. You don't have to be an asshole to be entertaining.
Well,
Like,
then where is it? Why they're obviously something. They're
it's
obviously playing
probably
pranks on each other like they used to.
yeah, yeah, maybe.
It's just more serious now. It's just more like let's do a challenge and then let's
Maybe
do an
people are
elimination.
boring. Do you think people are older on this show and people are mature and they're
Well,
married and they're
I
settled?
think they're trying to there's a broader audience watching CBS as well. Like you have a lot of people in their 40s
Mm,
and 50s, like families wanting to sit down and just watch maybe a show, or just even just older people in general, 50s. People in their 50s and 60s don't want to watch people getting drunk and making out. So they're not going to show that type of stuff, even if
I
they are.
don't
You sure
know
about
about
that? When my mother and father sit down to watch a reality show, I'm pretty sure they're not like, oh, I need some 20-year-old like having sex. Like, really? I don't think I think they'd rather see the strategic, like watch people like do crazy stunts or
Yeah, I
something.
mean, you're probably right. I don't know if I would go so far. Like maybe sex wasn't on my mind.
But I
Just
mean,
other
think about
things.
what we used to watch on the challenge. They'd be having sex in the bathrooms, and like people watched it through the window. My mother would be like, "This is Daniel. Why are you like my?" She
Daniel, I
well,
love that you
I always get
your,
full name.
your
That was
mother and
my given name.
father.
So,
So proper, mother and father.
but I just
Mother
wonder,
and
like, no, like
father
I
don't
talk to
want
my
to see
parents about like funny stuff too. Like we talk about everything and anything, but I don't think they'd want to watch a show where it's like sex driven.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be sex
Bunch of
driven.
horny 21-year-olds getting drunk.
It
They're
doesn't need
over
to
that,
be
I think,
sex
at this
driven.
point.
It just needs to be fun and silly, or if not even fun and silly, then what's going on with other people? You know, we just keep seeing the same handful of people because it's helping drive the story and
And
foreshadow. We don't
it
need
sucks
that
because we
much.
know. I know we
We
don't.
don't need that much to drive the story. Okay, we understand. We need one little snippet that Ben and Sarah are from Big Brother, and so is Tyson, for us to understand that he's throwing in someone from his show, from his
Yeah,
pool of people. You know, we don't need like 40 minutes of the episode to be about that.
yeah.
Maybe I fabricated. Maybe it was like 20 minutes.
Well, they're only hour-long episodes now, and that's not including commercials. So,
Yeah. All right. So this was a pretty good episode, but it definitely wasn't like a standout by any means, you know?
I mean, I like that Tyson threw Sarah, and I think that's fun. I think it's a great, at least a setup episode for something that could happen later and get a good payoff later. You love your payoffs. This could be a good payoff later. Maybe Sarah. What if Sarah sends Tyson home? I wouldn't like to see it, but that's a huge storyline.
Mm.
So, anyways, all right, great. Well, hey, if you enjoyed hearing us here, will also enjoy hearing us on our Patreon where we're talking Big Brother 24. If you've never watched Big Brother before, don't feel bad. I never had either until this season, and I am hooked on this. You can pick up on it pretty easily. It's not that complicated to just watch a couple episodes. You'll be right into understanding who's working with who, and I like it more than the challenge right now. I don't know how you feel. I know Pam definitely likes Big Brother more. I'm like a
Listen, I
little
mean,
bit
I'm
more on
definitely
Big Brother.
entertained, but when I really think about it, I think the show is pretty fucked up.
Oh, Big Brother. Yeah.
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 I think that like again, we talked about this on the Patreon, where Big Brother just feels like such a popularity contest in
Yeah.
like the worst kind of ways. Like I understand that it's game strategy and politics, but it's like nasty game strategy and politics, social stuff. It's not like in a game that also has good competition, like the HOH and the vetoes and stuff. They can be really hard, but at the same time, they can be really stupid and
Really
flimsy.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, that I feel
The
like,
challenge is the next level of that, obviously, by
yeah,
20
the challenge
times,
at least has ways for people to fight for themselves in an athletic way and also make more alliances based off of like athletics and competitions, where Big Brother just feels like
Yeah.
who do we hate today? Who should
Yeah.
we like, it's just this weird.
However, if you are rooting for certain people and the other people are getting sent onto the block, I mean, it's like, yes, you get so excited I don't know what's
Yes.
going on.
True.
I'm getting that excited about it, but it's interesting.
Truth. Yes.
All right. Anyways, all right, we'll let you all go. Please comment in the comment section, but we want to see a lot of comments down there. Good ones, maybe some bad ones about me. I don't care. I'll write back to you and we'll have a whole conversation about why I have no idea what I'm talking about. It'll be fantastic. What do you
Love
think,
it.
Jen? You love it. Okay.
I love it, love it, love it.
All right. We'll see you next week for episode 6 of the Challenge USA. Bye.
Bye. Oh, say.